You are welcome to today's episode of Formula for Everyday with the Formula Law.
Hi, welcome to Formula Creative Studios. Today is another beautiful day and it's so glad to be on air again to share with you this moment on this podcast. I am Lawrence Nkwocha, the Formula Law. This is Formula for Everyday podcast, and today we're going to be continuing with the book review we started last week. We started with this book, Be Obsessed or Be Average by Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone is a multi-millionaire and American businessman, and he has been able to attain some very incredible feats in the areas of real estate and tech and so many other businesses he has been able to establish. And he has shared this principle in the book. I've read the book completely and I see it fit to share the little points I've been able to catch from the book with you on this podcast. So it's just going to stir you up so that if you are interested in reading the full book, you can check it out online, or you can send me a DM through my mobile phone number so that I can send the book to you. Alright, so without further ado, let's get to it. Chapter 3. The topic for chapter 3 is what to be obsessed with. What to be obsessed with. You can be obsessed about anything and everything in your life that matters to you. So whatever it is that matters to you in your life, I was telling a friend earlier on that you should be obsessed with your health, your personal development, your family, your friends. It's very important to be very obsessed with the key areas of your life. So purpose is not just about one thing. There are different purposes that you have in life. You can serve the purpose of a father or a mother, a brother or a sister, a colleague, a friend. You can serve different purposes in life. So the question of purpose is not just about one thing, but it's about being able to function in different parts and still being able to be efficient and also effective at the same time. So purpose now cuts across so many areas of our life. Purpose is the holy grail of being obsessed, the reason of doing something. So I was listening to Eric Thomas. He was saying that if you have two reasons for doing something, then perhaps you might fall down by the wayside and you get weak from doing that particular thing. But you can't compare that with somebody that have 50 reasons for doing the same thing. Okay, so you must find every reason why you need to be successful in your life, or why you need to be doing a particular thing at a certain time, and put yourself all into that thing and become obsessed about it. So you don't need to like what you do to love what you do. So you must not like what you do in order to love it. You just have to I was reading this book, Still Like an Artist. It's a very interesting book I've read over and over again. So he was saying you should fake it until you make it. Alright, so what he was trying to say now is that you can actually pretend to be doing something until you actually get to do that thing. Like whenever you really feel like you need to work in a day, you need to sit in front of your computer and just pretend. It's just you in the room, or perhaps you and a few other of your family members. Pretend to be doing that thing until you get into the mood and do whatever it is that you need to do.
You are still listening to Formula for Everyday with the Formula Law. Stay tuned.
So he gave some questions on how you can actually discover what to be obsessed about. So I can't read all the questions because this is actually a book review. So I'll just be giving you some of the questions and give you my take on it. So first of all, he gave questions on how to figure out your purpose in the area of personal interest. He asked for what excites you now, like what are the things that excite you right now. Like personally for me now, you know that doing this podcast excites me because I love showing up. I love sharing my views about what I've read and what I think about the world around us right now. So for me now, making the podcast excites me, making videos and running my business and doing so many other things that are part of my life right now really gets to excite me. Then secondly, what is that one thing that I have always wanted to do? So what are those your childhood dreams? What is that thing you've always kept recycling on your to-do list and you've not gotten to do it. So number 3, what is exciting me so much that I can do anything to accomplish it? So what is that thing that you have in mind that you are willing to go almost any length in order to be able to achieve it? You are willing to sacrifice almost anything in order to be able to achieve it. So secondly, asked in the area of money motivation. So what he was asking is, what am I willing to do for no money? We do so many things every day for no money. You do, like for instance, you brush your teeth, right? You're not paid for for brushing your teeth. You're not paid for taking your bath. And there are so many other things you do that you are not being paid for doing it. Okay, like for instance, as I gave this example earlier on, like I'm not being paid for doing this podcast, but I really love it, and eventually I want to be paid in billions for actually doing this podcast. Okay, so the second question is, what would I like to do for a lot of money? Of course, I would still love to do this podcast for a whole lot of money. I would love to do everything I love for a whole lot of money, but you must learn how to do these things without having any reward. Let the process be the reward. Let the value you are giving to other people in your society, other people in your community, your audience, your viewers, let it be your ultimate reward for now. Okay, so number 3, he said, if money had nothing to do with your life, what would you do with your time? So if there is no money in the entire process of what you are doing, or let's assume there is no power of exchange, there is no power of currency in the entire world, what will you be doing with your time that you have on earth? So he asked questions too in the area of skills and talents. He asked, what can I do better than anyone? So what are your unique skills and gifts and special abilities that you are very sure you can do and other people will find it very difficult to do, or other people will find it even impossible? So what have I always been good at? So what has been that your native skill, your native talent, that thing you do with so much ease and grace, and you do with so much dexterity? So what have I always been bad at? So according to him, you cannot be good at everything. There is certainly something you are very bad at, irrespective of the fact that you may love that thing, but you cannot do it. Like I can remember last week I was watching the highlights from the match, the biggest match of the entire week, which was the match between Manchester United and Newcastle, where Cristiano Ronaldo made his his second debut for Manchester United and scored 2 goals. Like, I love football so much. Cristiano Ronaldo is one of my personal successful paragons, but like, I really cannot play football. Like, trust me, I've tried severally and I cannot play football. So no matter I love football, I cannot play it. Like, I cannot play it like professionally. So I know my weakness in that point, and I know that's like I'm not good at football at all. Okay, so you need to find out where you are good at, your strength, and you also need to find your weaknesses. This is like doing a SWOT analysis. Okay, so he asked some questions in market research. What product or service have you complained so much about? So people that actually get to solve problems they pick those problems from the marketplace. You look at things that are not going well, things you can innovate on, things you can improve on, and with your present knowledge and experience, you can look at the marketplace and see how you can provide better customer service, how you can provide innovation on goods that already exist, or how you can actually bring in something new. Still on the book I was reading today, Think Like an Artist, he said nothing is completely or entirely new. So we get to understand our world better by copying from what we see around us and actually trying to improve it. We imitate from what is already around us and we remix it with so many other ideas that we have and produce something entirely new. Okay, so he also ask questions on legacy. What do I want to be remembered for, and what contributions can I make to my society right now? So what contributions can you make to your society? What is that thing you've always wanted to be remembered for? Like still on some books I've read this book, A Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. Eventually we'll all be forgotten in this world, but for the period And while your name still lasts on earth, what do you want to be remembered for? There are people that we still remember until today. See, someone like Napoleon Hill that wrote Think and Grow Rich. That's a book I think he wrote in the 14, that's the late 1400s and 1500 and early 1500s. This is a book that still has so much relevance to the financial knowledge now. He's one of the people that started the self-help motivation and all that. So he's very significant as being a paragon in that field. Also, looking at someone like Nelson Mandela in African leadership and leadership in the world entirely. There are so many paragons in the world. There are so many people that have made their mark and dropped their legacies in the sands of time. So what exactly do you want to be remembered for? What do you want to be reckoned for when your life is done on earth? Okay, so that's one of the ways how you can actually get to understand your purpose as an individual. So moving on, he asked questions on inspiring people. If I could meet anyone, who would I want to be with? So if you look at all your paragons, all those you admire as being successful, who would you pick to meet? Like, who will you want to sit one-on-one with and meet? Who is that person that you want to have a one-on-one conversation with to actually know what inspired them for their success? Okay, so who is that person, either living or dead? Actually, I'll prefer to pick one living person and one dead person, perhaps someone that you can interact with his or her materials, perhaps through books, through their works, if they are artists, through their paintings, if they are writers, through their writings, and whatever it is that they've left as a work in your industry. You can sit with it, you interact with these people and the clues that they've left behind in their works. Okay, he also asked questions in lifestyle. He said, what makes me feel good and what gives me the energy? Okay, so these are very important key points, because eventually whatever makes you feel good will continue to make you feel good, and you need whatever makes you feel good to refuel your energy at every point in time, because life actually gets boring. Personally, I'm someone that I can actually get bored with activities sometimes. That's why I feel I have interest that just draws me in every single time, and whenever it is I'm feeling down, I know what needs to be done and I know exactly what to do in order to get what I want to do accomplished. So he asked questions of what if I knew I couldn't fail, what would I do? So if you are a superhuman, if you are infallible, if you are someone that cannot fail at what you do, what exactly would you do? So if you have the capacity to be obsessed with many things, if you have the capacity to be obsessed with many things, of which I believe each and every one of us have that capacity to be obsessed with many things. So what will you pick to do? Like, what activities per day, what activities per week, what activities in your lifetime would you pick if you have this limitless energy? Okay, so he said keep your obsessions fresh. That was all of your life is a transition, so you keep moving from one point to another. At this point you feel you have complete clarity of what you want to achieve, what you want to do, and as you continue to move on in life, you get to understand that evolution happens. You begin to get evolved, like there's serious evolution that happens to you as you move on with life. You find out that things begin to change about you as a person, things begin to change about your understanding about life. So generally life is a transition. You move from one point to another and you find out different ways of doing things. According to him, he said, if the dream you have today is the same dream you have 5 years to come, then there's certainly something wrong with your dream system.
You are still listening to Formula for Every Day with the Formula Law. Stay tuned.
Okay, I can remember by this time last year, there's a business plan I had for my business. So I realized that right now I have everything I really wanted to have for business and even more. So I just figured that I can actually plan 50 times more than what I actually have now. And by the special grace of God, it is very possible that within the time frame and with very serious dedication and a strategy, and also with excessive complete obsession, I can be able to achieve that particular goal. So whatever it is you want to do is limitless. Like, your abilities are limitless. You need to keep your obsession fresh, and the best way to keep your obsession fresh is to always set new goals. A time to time revisiting of your goals. You need to, according to him now, he said you need to set daily goals about exactly what you want to achieve. What are the things you want to achieve? How do all the things you want to achieve add up to become very productive in the grand scheme of things? You need to put all this together down in writing. I read from No Excuses that writing is a teleological activity. As you begin to write down things, you are drawn to them. Your eyes begin to open to opportunities of how you can achieve these things and how you can be able to carry out each of these activities. Okay, so you need to learn how to write down your goals daily. His recommendation is that you should get a journal. Every single morning and night, you write down your goals until you internalize these goals and you begin to carry them out even without looking at them. You know them by heart. You know them as they are. They become part of your subconscious, and even without realizing what you are doing, you are being drawn to them, and daily you are working on each of these goals, and anything that is not related to your goal is taken out. So as you continue to keep your goals fresh, as you keep your obsession fresh, you eliminate distractions, you eliminate the tendency of you falling by the wayside. It's a very important practice, and personally I've not been doing it the go way for the past few years, but it's very important that you do it at every single point of your life. You need to revisit your goal. You need to refresh what is actually that thing that keeps you awake at night. What is that thing that is drawing you into wanting to be interested in life? Because the day you begin to fall out of your positive obsessions, the negative obsessions begin to fall into place. So you need to always internalize your goals. You need to always understand your goals. You need to always keep session fresh. So purpose keeps you from spending a lifetime wandering the planet without direction. So why people tend to lose interest in life, why people tend to lose interest in what they do, is due to the fact that they've lost the obsession they had initially for what they loved. So this generally is a very important point, and he made a very valid point, which I think I should let you know. Having a daily goal is not the same thing as making a to-do list. So daily goals are things that are far-fetched, things that you cannot just attain them in a twinkle of an eye, just like picking up a phone to call your dad or your mom. No, those can be on your to-do list, but your goal list should be things that can actually make you 10 times, 50 times, 20 times better than who you are right now. So as you continue to think of things that are bigger than you, your mind begins to expand to catch up with the frequency of those things you are teaching, and before you know it, you are very big at what you do. So without dragging this episode to be too long, with this I've come to the end of today's edition of Formula for Every Day. I would like you to tune into the Thursday edition, which is coming up, and I'll be reviewing chapter 4 by the special grace of God. Thank you very much for listening to today's edition. I remain your host, Lawrence Nkwocha. This is Formula for Every Day. Bye for now.
This podcast holds every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Thank you for listening to today's Roadside. Hope you learned something new. I would like you to join in on the next episode.